changed since the last time you saw them earlier this year?
Same way we've changed. You're watching tape and you see Jalen and DeAndre. You're watching tape and you see Brandon. And obviously, I think Mark Williams is the biggest change. Just his rim protection. Bridges is playing great. He didn't play against us in Charlotte, so both teams have different lineups. We've got Veet back last game. He's still on a minutes restriction. Playing without Trey and Karras the other night, I think. It was, I won't say it's good, but you see some different things. Getting those guys back. So I know I'm talking about us, but it's as important because of matchup situations. So that's best I can do.
Quin,
Yeah.
over the last 5 games, obviously you guys are 4-1. Have you seen something or multiple things that are consistent that you feel has led for you guys to have the type of rhythm on both ends of the floor that's led to you guys win the last 4 to 5?
I think our pace has been good. That's something that we emphasize a lot, and being able to get in the paint and have our eyes out, and get some threes. That'll be important tonight. They make it hard for you to get in the paint, and when you get in there, they have rim protection. So I think as much as anything, you start to get a little bit of continuity with guys that are playing, and guys kind of settle into one another, and even if not everybody's having a good game at the same time, collectively start to develop a little more continuity.
When we hear a lot of complaints that every team in the NBA kind of plays the same offensively, just running pick and rolls and cutting up threes. Can you talk about what your team does differently that makes you guys unique from a stylistic or necessarily standpoint?
I guess I would disagree with the initial comment. I think because 3 is more than 2. So you're incentivized at various times to shoot threes. To whatever extent that's become uninteresting, I haven't dug into that and really thought about it that much. I think people are getting better at shooting threes. So when you have attempts that go up, you would think percentages will go down. But I think people are there's more guys shooting threes. The one thing I would say that I feel strongly about is that I think when you look at your team, it's important to try to project what your players' strengths can be and how they fit together. So stylistically, every team is a little bit different. Sometimes those differences are more subtle because of different combinations. We've played differently over different points in the season. I think the consistent thing in my mind that we want to do is we want to move the ball. We want to play together, and we want to try to play as randomly as possible, and still be organized, if that makes sense. But again, I think teams are going to play to their strengths, and there's more small pick and roll, less pick and roll with 5. And what you find really is we see the differences on the offensive end because I think they're more obvious. You can track them more, but oftentimes offenses react to defenses. And so for us, even when you have different lineups in the game, you presume Trey's such a unique offensive player that we play a little differently when he's in the game than we do without him. And that's true, I think, of shooters too. We've tried to shoot more threes for the very reason that I was tongue-in-cheek, right? But if you don't shoot it great from 3, there's an argument to be made, to take some other shots to try to get to the free throw line more. So I do think, for me as a coach, I think that's that's my job, is to try to maximize the strengths of the team. And when you have a team that can really shoot, you know, you're more of a spacing team. When you have a team that doesn't shoot as well, you know, you can be more of a screening team or a cutting team and try to attack the rim a little bit more.
Quinn, with regards to the recent winning, we've heard you talk about the process being the main focal point in all that you do in order to reap the benefits of winning at times, but sometimes it hasn't necessarily unfurled into wins on a night-to-night basis.
Sure.
How much easier is it to communicate to the team and lean into the process now that you are benefiting with seeing wins come across the rim?
Yeah, it's a good question. The hardest thing is there's a lot of times that winning is harder than other. We were playing without, you know, depth at the point guard for a good portion of the year. You know, we play right now. You know, we finished with 6'8", 6'7", 6'6" across the front line. That's a very different team than Clint, Jalen, and DeAndre. So I think the important thing, the process itself, there's some things that you want to do all the time, and then to, you know, what we just talked about, trying to find, you know, a team strength. And winning isn't always reflective of how you're playing. You know, it can be impacted from everything from schedule, travel, fatigue, injury, and sometimes it's hard, to your point, you know, when you're not getting that feedback, you know, as a coach, there's some hang in there stuff. But for the players to really to be persistent and, you know, also to be resilient, because, you know, we've felt that, you know, a lot this year. You know, when you have a winning streak or you have a losing streak, sometimes, you know, you may be playing well and losing. Oftentimes it's, you know, if you're winning, you're usually playing better than when you're losing, of course. But I think that's a challenge that all teams face, and we've faced it on an acute level this year.
Coach, of course, there are a lot of talks of Dyson being in the running for Defensive Player of the Year, but how could you make a case for him for most improved?
For most improved, in addition to, you know, I feel like we've got a number of guys that have gotten better. You know, I think, you know, with Zach, because he's a rookie, you know, you don't think of him as most improved, although he's, you know, he's improved. If you put him in a bucket, it'd be for a rookie to be a bucket. You know, Jalen's season before he got injured, you know, was tracking in that direction. It's hard. Certainly, I would vote for him. You know, but that goes without saying. I think if you just study, you know, not only the defense, but the way he's driving the ball, the way he's shooting the ball, you know, sometimes just you watch him and he's playing with a level of confidence that is developed over the course of the season. So usually with those things, there's a lot of players that are deserving, and I certainly feel like he's one of them.
When you mentioned that you're closing a lot of games now with 6'7", 6'9" guys, and
6'8".
when Dyson first got here, I know the front office kept saying stuff like he's gonna be perfect fit in Quin's system. What about your system do you think really does benefit?
Who said that? Do you remember? I'm just kidding.
Maybe
Go ahead.
What about your system do you think benefits wings and like a playmaking?
I think Dyson has a feel for the game, just his decision making. You know, there's times where we've really gotten on him about making quick reads, like literally reading before that he gets the ball, because I think his ability to drive the ball, you know, and his ability to finish, you know, whether it's a floater or is starting to extend more. So I guess the things that I would point to as much as anything is his playmaking ability, you know, and his versatility, you know, where you can have him out there to, you know, joking around a little bit with those lineups, but, you know, with his size, he provides a versatility both on offense and defense that, you know, I think we appreciate and want to take advantage of, particularly getting, you know, him in space and in the open floor. And I think every coach loves him. A guy guards like that too.
Coach, how have you seen shooters like Zachary used to say in Muhammad game, the minutes at the beginning of the season, they might have struggled from three, but over the last, say, 10 games or so, they really hit their start to stride. And Dyson as well, over the past 2.5 weeks, been shooting the three ball.
Yeah, I give all the credit to those guys and the guys on my staff and the work they put in. You know, I think it's hard. Usually players get better shooting just with reps and with confidence. But I think we've had guys that have really put time in. You know, they've done the extra work, whether it's on an off day, before practice, they're early, they're shooting late. We've got a lot of guys that are doing all those things. And, you know, in a testament to their work ethic. And I think our staff, from a developmental standpoint, it's the best staff I've had in that regard, as far as their attention to detail and their belief in those guys.
Thanks, Coach.
Okay.